Can actually gastrointestinal diseases can be cured? Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel diseases, can you actually heal from chronic diseases with fasting and a fruitarian diet? Stay there until the end so we can learn more about the science of health. Do you want to know more about fasting and how to live a healthful life, or even raw vegan recipes? Hygienic Fasting, Nature's Surgery, and the book Natural Delicacies, Cooking Without a Stove, are available on Amazon, and Hygienic Fasting is actually available on print on demand, so you can receive it at your home. But I also have 8 books published, 6 online courses, retreats here in Brazil, and I attend patients online in private sessions. Unfortunately, all the other books and the online courses are still only available in Portuguese. But if you want my help as a nutritionist, or even if you want to come to a retreat in Brazil, just sign up. The contact will be on the website and in the links below. And please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications, comment, share the video. If you do all those, you are going to help the channel to grow. If we grow, you grow together, getting more vital, life-changing information and help yourself and others to make this a more healthy and better planet for all of us. Hi there, I'm Dr. Corassa. I'm a clinical nutritionist from Brazil that have been living a natural hygiene lifestyle for almost 2 decades now. And I have been blessed to live where I was sure I was going to die 18 years ago. I had severe chronic diseases like diabetes, back pains. I was about to do 2 surgeries. I felt like I was going to die. And then through searching, I found natural hygiene, the science of health, a lifestyle medicine model that focused on producing health instead of treating diseases. And then I found fasting, a lifestyle medicine, and a frugivore diet, a raw food diet based on fruits and vegetables. It healed me and it motivated me to spread these words with the world. So it's what I have been doing for 20 years. And now today I have the pleasure in the Frugal Health podcast to interview Jeff JUICES. And he talks a little bit about his diet, his lifestyle, and also about how he healed from Crohn's disease. Introduce yourself a little bit, Jeff, and it is a pleasure to be talking with you.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'm Jeff JUICES here, and much like most people who find this path, I got sick. I got really chronically sick in my 20s, and it basically kind of started in the tropics. I drank some really bad tap water. It triggered a bacterial infection in my intestines, and I took some antibiotics. Like a lot of people who have intestinal issues, it started with taking antibiotics. And so while the antibiotics did temporarily relieve some symptoms of diarrhea, long-term it really screwed up my gut. And that undigested food matter that happened after taking antibiotics slowly turned into inflammation in my mid to late 20s. And that eventually turned into about 20 different health issues. The main one being extreme inflammation in my intestines. I'm talking 9 months pregnant, bloated, to the point where it looks like I have a softball traveling all the way through my intestines anytime I eat anything until I release it. Super painful. I would throw up at least 3 times a day for maybe 5 or 6 years. And I would just lay on the bathroom floor crying hundreds of days like that. So that was like the main health issue that I had. But then once you start with any health issue, if you don't address it, it turns into all the other health issues. So what started as gut inflammation then turned into chronic fatigue and brain fog and candida, and I was starting to get acne and pre-diabetes and cold feet. I became impotent. I had hypogonadism. My testicles shrank. I stopped producing testosterone, and just a host of other health issues. And with trying all the mainstream approaches that you could find on Google that were diet related, because I still, I think my personality leans towards natural health, but I didn't know what the hell that meant. I don't think anybody knows what natural health is until they actually spend some time learning about what natural health is, And so I tried meat-based diets, keto, paleo, carnivore. I tried raw carnivore for like 5 months, I believe. And just through that journey, I discovered the ability to kind of like take a hold of my cravings. And in some ways, I was getting my mind closer to being healthy, but in no way was my body detoxing or getting clean at all. I was getting sicker and sicker every diet that I'd switched to. And then luckily, I think I was 31. I'm 39 now. I was 31 and I was in the hospital. I had taken a capsule camera. It's called a capsule endoscopy, where it takes a picture every second all the way through your digestive tract to see what the hell's going on. And thousands of dollars spent at the doctor, no solution, no answers. Finally, this capsule, this pill gets stuck in my intestines, and where I had really bad inflammation, so it got stuck there. I had them remove it non-surgically, which was a 4-month ordeal. And in the hospital that night, finally they removed it. I was throwing up all night. I did the one thing that I just did not want to do, which was to do a Google on veganism, because I was pretty anti-vegan. And I just simply looked up plant-based healing for disease. And within that one search, I found juicing, I found water fast, and I found a fruitarian diet within like 10 minutes. It totally resonated with me and made sense. And so I went on the journey immediately. The next day I went to Walmart. After getting out of the hospital, I bought a juicer. I started sending cucumber, carrots, apples through the juicer. And then within about a week of doing that, I noticed my brain fog kind of started to disappear. I was like, what the hell's going on right now? I'm like able to think again. And I hadn't been able to think for a long time. And then after a few months of doing that, I started to feel my intestines starting to get a little bit better. And before that, I wasn't able to digest any food for years. So I found the fruitarian diet, juicing. Juicing was like my real entry into this path. I found the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead super juiced me. And it just resonated that what you're putting in your body directly affects everything that your body does. Your overall health is directly correlated to your food. Obviously, it doesn't take a freaking brain surgeon to figure this out. It's just common sense. If you're eating trash, your body's going to feel like trash. If you're eating beautiful, colorful, natural, alive food, your body's going to feel great. It's going to feel alive. It's going to flourish. And so it just made perfect sense. I really looked at the food that I was being served in the hospital, which was like chicken broth and Jell-O and ice cream and meat and bread, and then I realized this is all processed bullshit, and to me, I didn't really think that closely into it. And then I heard the word detoxification through juicing. I never really even knew what detoxing meant. Detoxing, what is that? That must mean that I have a bunch of toxins in me. Then I thought about the 32 years of food that I ate, and it was like 17 sodas a day, tons of beer and cocaine and every single processed food possible, Skittles and candy. I ate candy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 25 years. Donuts, soda, cereal, that was my diet. So here I am 32 years, I'm built off of cereal and candy. That's why I'm sick. It made perfect sense, So eventually I flipped a switch. I was a commercial photographer, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop working. I got a little bit of money saved up. I'm going to figure out how to heal myself. And when the cards are right, I'll start working again. And that path never went back to being a photographer. It just went into being a health promoter and a coach and whatever you want to call what I do. I'm very into health now. Obviously, it completely changed my life, and juicing took me to about, I'd say, 50% health. And eating a fruitarian diet got me healthier, but it never really got me to perfect health, And so I had moved to Mexico to live in the tropics. Obviously, if you're really into eating fruit, and it's a big part of your lifestyle, it makes it a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable to live where you're in warm weather and where tropical fruit grows. So I moved to Mexico, but within that time period, I just wasn't thriving. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to do a water fast, my first long fast. I'd done a few 3, 4, 5 day water fasts. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I just need to bite the bullet. I think mentally I'm ready finally. And I flew to Tanglewood. I did a 19-day water fast on my first one. Lost a bunch of weight. I was really skinny before I started and even skinnier afterwards. And it just totally changed my freaking life. Everything about me just regenerated. I released about 6 pounds, like 3 kilos of just hard plaque material after I started refeeding. My digestion improved dramatically. And I had perfect skin, like a baby's butt for like 6 months after I started eating again. Just so many things changed within me. My heart released a lot of anger, released a lot of emotional baggage that I had before I fasted. And then that kind of started the next chapter of my life, which was fast and rebuild on fruit, fast, rebuild on fruit. I think when a lot of us find this journey, we're kind of lost at exactly what to do. Oh, does fruit heal you? Does herbs heal you? Does juicing heal you? And we look at that because it's attractive. Oh, I'm going to drink these juices and the juices are going to heal me. But then you get to a certain point in your journey and you realize like, oh, I'm healthier for sure, but like I obviously am still intoxicated with stuff. And I've been juicing for 4 years and eating almost a perfect fruit-based diet. Why am I still not even close to in perfect health? And then you start to realize like, oh, the food isn't what's healing you. Once you stop eating and you start allowing the body to cleanse and repair itself, then you start to see true magic happen. It's hard. It's very hard. As you know, my brother, you've done a lot of fasting too. It's difficult. We're releasing the demons and we're having to go through the painful process of regeneration and detoxification. But if you go through that process, what are you given? You are given the rewards, the beautiful fruit of life. And you're giving your life back, And so that's kind of where I'm at right now in my life. I do a lot of fasting now. I fast at least 1 day a week, usually about 36 hours on Sundays I'll fast. And then like every 4 to 6 months, I'll try to do a longer fast, whether it be like a week up to 1 week or like 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, That's my story, bro.
So how long have you been a frugivore, and how many fasts have you done until now, like long water fasts?
Yeah, so I've been fruit-based for almost 8 years, and I've been fasting for about 3.5 years now, and I've done, I'd say like 10 day or more water fasts. So many 5 to 7 days. My longest fast is still 19 days. I've done 2 19-day fasts, but I've also been very skinny when I was doing like my long fast, and up until about a year ago, I was still pretty thin, and now I'm like a normal weight. But it took a long time just to clear a lot of this plaque out of my intestines. And so, I've basically just surrendered to the fact that every 6 months I'm going to need to do a fast until my body's perfectly healthy, and it's getting much closer. I have no more health issues, and I feel amazing. But when you fast and you're eliminating toxicity, you still need to continue on your fasting journey. I'm trying to get to that place where I can fast and I don't detox, and I don't have extreme smells coming out of me. So I'd say I don't want to like guess, but I'm probably 3 or 4 more fasts away. And so I'm about to do another long fast here on Saturday. I'm going to try for a 26-day fast, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Nice. I understand. I feel you completely because, it's a quite similar path. And even though after 18 years, I have done 24 days, 19 days, 15 days, 23 days, a lot of 10 days, a lot of 7 days, a lot of 5 and 3 days water fast, but a lot. Those smaller, from 10 to 7, a lot.
Yeah.
But still, the last couple years, as you said, you watched the video, I fasted for 39 days on tanglewood, and it was even more a game changer than compared to the other fasts, because I had some back issues since I was young. I had herniated disc, my spine was terrible, my coordination, etc. But this 39-day water fast, it it healed me way more than even than the 24 day back then in 17 years ago when I started the diet.
Yeah.
So I really believe going longer, although it's for sure it's harder, it's still because I knew that because of Shelton, right? I study Herbert Shelton's work like avidly, and he supervised more than 40,000 water fasts during his career. He was the person who more in the world who supervised more fasts. So he knew what he was talking about. So he was always joking in his lectures like, if 10 days doesn't work, I give you 20 days. If 20 days doesn't work, I give you 30 days. If 30 days doesn't work, I give you 40 days. You know, like, and he was right because going longer, it seems that goes way much more deeper, you know. So for the first time, I had like a terrible, how do you guys call bruxisms? Bruxism? Like when you clench your mandible, you know,
Like
what is
lockjaw
the
almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like this, right? Even more when I sleep,
Yeah.
I was always waking up like, you know, ugh.
Yeah.
and in the 35 day, like I started crying a lot, and this was like clack clack clack.
Oh my God.
You could hear the bones like, you know, getting apart from themselves, getting back to where they should be, you know, like, and I could hear my ears like. It was so strange. I never felt like that before.
Wow.
And even though I was living for hygienically for almost 17 years,
Yeah.
I already did many water fasts. I still feel that my body needs more healing from a fast. So I plan another 40-day water fast. And I'm pretty sure. And my back, I got for the first time, my coordination got better, and yeah, my
Got
spine
straighter.
got more, you know, more straight.
Yeah.
I feel less compressed down there.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
it's pretty impressive. Keep going, dude. You're in the right path. Like
Yeah, for sure.
it's unbelievable.
You get it. I mean, you once you get in those upper days, once you go past like 14, 15 days, then I mean, you're feeling it. You're very deep in the process, and you feel your body start to, for one, detox, but you feel it becoming more hydrated too. And so that, I mean, it's the same with everyone. The longer you go, the more benefits you get, but the harder it's going to be. And so that's your reward. Your reward is at the end of the tunnel, but you have to go through the tunnel to get to the light at the end. You know, and
Yeah,
most
exactly.
people on Earth aren't even willing to change their diet. So imagine the amount of people that are actually willing to fast. And fasting is really what's regenerating you. I don't really personally know. You look vibrant. I don't really know many raw vegans who are super vibrant and healthy looking unless they have done water fasting. There's a lot of raw vegans out there who've been raw for 15, 20 years, but the only ones that really truly look like they're hydrated and young for their age and have great skin, like us, like I can tell you have great skin, are the people who
Thank you.
water fast and most likely eat a salt-free diet too. But I don't know if you eat salt-free, but it's the water fasting that's really hydrating, you know.
Salt? What is that?
Good answer.
Yeah, I wouldn't. The only time I consume salt is during my retreats, twice or three times a year when I teach people. So they, you know, using zucchini raw, you know, for
Yeah.
lasagna, you need
Yeah.
some salt for people to taste it, or else, you know, like they have a hard time tasting it. Even though you can throw some lime and some dates on the tomato sauce and things like that, it can get a little bit saltier, but and tastier. But you know, like salt makes a difference there. But besides that, I don't consume salt the whole year. I'm SOS free for sure, like
Yeah.
Goldhammer you suggest.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
So tell me more about like, so for 8 years now, 9 years, you have been disease free.
No, 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 no. The start of my journey when I was still sick was at 8 years ago. And so I've progressively been getting healthier. And honestly, only for about the past year, I've been in perfect health. Before that, I was still in my fasting journey and I was getting closer to being in perfect health, but I was still having issues with my intestines, you know, and I was still having issues with sleep. And it wasn't until like my third water fast, my third long one, 16 days, I believe, that finally my intestines, it just released. You know, even after my first 2 long fasts, I still had problems with my digestion. You know, if I would eat too much or overeat or something, like I would feel pain in the area that I had extreme inflammation, where I would get bloated. And it wasn't until my third fast that finally released, the inflammation went away, and I released, you know, a lot more of that plaque. And so it's been relatively new for me to be in perfect health. And so what do I do now? You know, I'm like just now beginning my life, I feel like, you know, and I've been making content for like 5 years, but a lot of it has just been sharing my struggles, like what I'm going through. And now finally it's like, I don't know. I don't have anything wrong with me. What do I share now? I mean, I have tons to share, but it's like, I'm not sick anymore. You know, it took so long. And I honestly never thought that I would get to this place where my intestines function. Because I don't know if you've talked to too many people who have ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, but it's a very difficult thing to overcome, especially with fasting. But if you're not fasting, I don't know that many people that have healed. I'm talking like stage 4 Crohn's. Like, you want to compare it to like some of the worst cancers out there, it's very difficult to heal. You know, the intestines, especially if a lot of the intestine is inflamed, some people choose to just get them cut out. That was never an option. I was going to do 10 water fasts before I would even consider cutting out my intestines. And luckily I didn't need 10. I only needed like 4. And so I'm at my, like, I don't know, I would say like 5th or 6th long fast now, like over 10 days. And it's really that healed me. You know, the food didn't really help. Kind of helped with the other things, but it didn't really help heal my intestines. So a lot of people just don't really spend time looking at fasting. And fasting should be the first thing that we really look at and we focus our attention on. Once you fast, you get all the shit out from the past 30 years of your addictions and your
literally
bad
shit out.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. Once you get that stuff out, you know, it allows you to thrive on this diet. And I see a ton of raw vegans not thriving, which is really unfortunate because I was one of them. And then I started fasting and boom, perfect health, you know. I am in perfect health now, and it's really weird and hard to say that because just a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm not in perfect health. Am I ever going to get there? And it's like, hey, I'm here. It's kind of nice over here, you know? And so, I don't know. I just think a lot of people want the easy way out, and you can't get to a place of perfect health and perfect cleanliness by choosing the easy route. God didn't set us up that way. He said, if you sin against your own body, you're going to have to pay the price. And what is the payment? The payment is sitting there with your detoxification and feeling the pains of eliminating this old waste that's been accumulating, eliminating the chemicals. It's really the chemicals that are painful, you know, but once you do that, then it allows you to really fully get your life back and understand what our body was supposed to feel like when it's clean and healthy and hydrated.
If I can comment, like back in the days, I was really, really sick. And I wanted to be like my dad because he was really productive person. And he was immigrant from Italy during the Second World War, his family. So he was born in like planting his own food without any money. He didn't even have electric lights until he was 20 years of age. When he came to Rio de Janeiro for a big city and started working, etc. So he was weaned at 6 years of age. Until the 6 years, he was drinking his mother's milk. He had like his bone structure was like something. He looked like a gorilla, you know, like the size and his coordination, his immune system. He could drink. Eat bad stuff and be merry, you know, and don't pay the fiddler. He was like really, really different and stronger than everybody that I knew.
Yeah.
So when I started, I was like, I want that. But I didn't understand that his past made him like that, right? Like at the time, almost 20 years ago, I didn't understand, but I knew I wanted that. So I was like, I thought I'm going to be the healthiest person I can be. And I'm going to be the most knowledgeable person in the world about, like, you know, health. And I dedicated like almost 18 years of my life to read the science and to understand and to apply in my life, and also to be able to teach my patients because I went to university. Because here in Brazil, nutrition is a university. It's not like a small degree of 2 years, but we go through 5 years of college.
Wow.
So what I have learned through through these 18 years, and that I didn't know back then, and that most hygiene, they had some glance, like they had a small picture of it, but they didn't have the whole picture. That for sure, fasting, I agree completely. Fasting is the only thing you can actually regenerate, go back in the past and heal more, because the diet and the lifestyle, it maintains your health. Get through these small symptoms, the biochemistry get better, like cholesterol, blood pressure, etc. But these more damaged parts, like for example, my back, like bones, or coordination. Yeah, for example, I was pretty dumb 18 years ago, and now the longer it goes, the more smart I get. Like the faster I learn, my brain regenerated. So it's impressive how much better I can retain the knowledge and learn. So a lot of things got a lot better. But what I see is that most raw fooders, they don't know enough about hygiene to be able to apply to their best. Because, for example, like 6 years ago, I started studying a lot about chrononutrition and chronobiology. So applying chrononutrition and chronobiology to my lifestyle, it got my health a lot better. So back in the days, 20 years ago, who was talking about circadian rhythms in the health movement, in the science movement, in the medical science? There was almost none scientific articles. There was some, but not as much knowledge as we have today. So applying circadian lighting to my daily life, like not seeing lights at night, using blue filters, and not having dinner late. Because when I started hygiene, I went to play tennis at 7 p.m. and then I got dinner like 8 oranges, a lot of lettuce, tomatoes. I was always with my belly full before going to bed.
Yeah.
So I think those are some stuff that people don't pay attention to in the frugivore movement. But still, intense exercise every day, alternating between anaerobic, aerobic, chrononutrition, chronobiology. For example, nowadays I live in a small city. I harvest my own food. I plant my own food. I have contact with the soil, with the trees. So there's a lot of beef. Like back in the days, I used to use plastic as a bowl for my salads. Cutting plastic boards. I was not thinking about microplastic, or dioxins leaching from the substances. So I think there's a lot to optimize besides fasting. But for sure,
Of course.
Fasting is the ultimate regenerator. But there's still, if I could tell me now, if I could talk with me from the 20 years ago and say what I should do, I would probably be in better health than I am right now. And I would have healed faster from my health issues with these small details that I ended up learning with experience and with the science back then. But if I can only talk 1 second about the hygienic fasting nature surgery, that's one of the reasons that I started spreading my word to English. I have 10 books published, etc. So I translated my first book to English, and it's available on Amazon, print on demand, and Kindle. And I'm pretty sure that it's the most updated and comprehensive book on natural hygiene fasting there is in the world right now. I think I did a pretty good job getting the science from Shelton, getting the clinical experience from Shelton, from Furman, and coming together with the new science from Walter Longo and from True North, and getting all in just one book. So I'm trying to grow my social media in English, because I think I can contribute a lot with the English with the science to the English speaking people. So sorry to interrupt.
No,
just
that's okay. That's
some
amazing.
propaganda.
No, that's great. I didn't know you had books. That sounds amazing. There's
Yeah.
not that many people. There's a lot of people who fast for sure, especially now in the last 10 years, it's become a little more mainstream. But there's not a lot of people who teach it. There's not a lot of people who are bringing a community of people together and like really putting more puzzle pieces together. There's a handful of people, you know. I'm beginning to be one of them. Obviously, it sounds like you are definitely one of them now too. So that's really great that you've done that with all those people's works.
Yeah. Like in Brazil, I have like around 1 million followers with YouTube and Instagram, but in English it's still pretty small.
Yeah.
But like the books, what I did, I don't know if you know Michael Greger's work. It's all referenced, right? Like nutrition facts. So I got inspired by him as well, like 15 years ago. So the books are all have bibliographical references, numerical bibliographical references. So everything that I say has a number over there and have a number on the end that connects to the scientist, the name of the research, the name of the scientific article, the name of the scientific journal, the number, the page, etc. So there's science behind it. I'm not just saying, because I think in the raw food movement, a lot goes into mysticism, religion, you know, my experience, my thoughts, my energy. So it gets like not so much credit in the scientific movement, in the scientific community.
Yeah. There isn't much money being spent on the science aspect of what we do, you know. Exactly. So there's not near as much in our world as there is in, you know, the pharmaceutical world or even the meat eating world, you know, just because there's so many dollars being thrown at that. So it's great to put it all in one place. Because I have probably the same as you. I have so many people that are like, "Where's the studies?" I'm like, "Well, they're right here. There's lots of places. You just have to look, you know." And if you go on Google and type it in, it's probably not going to be your first two searches because Google doesn't want you to know how to heal yourself. They don't want you to know the statistics of people who get breast cancer who choose chemo as opposed to people who do not choose chemo. What their percentage is of surviving that. It's actually a lot higher than most people think. So once you start doing some digging, you realize, all these studies were paid for by the pharmaceutical companies that produce chemo. And then you look at other studies that were actually done with fasting or through diet-based, and you're like, oh, wow, those are there. And they're shockingly obvious that the path is not chemical castration, you know, so...
What other subjects would you want to view here? Do you want to know more? Please comment below. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to help our work and help yourself, 2 of my 10 books are already translated and published in English on Amazon. And Hygienic Fasting Nature Surgery is actually available print on demand also. And Natural Delicacies, Cooking Without a Stove, it's on Kindle. So if you want my help, the link below for the website and for the WhatsApp contacts, you can get a consultation, retreats, online courses, and read all the books. It's life-changing information for the most updated lifestyle information out there in the planet.
Yeah, it's quite funny. My dad died 6 years ago of cancer, right? And in his last days, he told me, "You're right, I want to become a frugivore." Wow. But like I told him for 10 years, you know, like, and he didn't listen. Yeah. So I ended up writing a cancer book, lifestyle medicine and diet book against cancer, right? So Anti-Cancer Diet is the name of the book. And most people don't know that chemotherapy, it was actually the mustard gas that was used on Second World War as a weapon against the soldiers that would burn them from the inside out. Wow. So they just changed a World War weapon to chemo and start healing people from cancer. Yeah. It's quite like, I don't know.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, but like I thought I was dumb when I started raw foods. But after realizing such simple and obvious things, I was like, I'm an Einstein and I didn't know. I'm kidding. I'm not more intelligent than anybody. It's just that it's so simple that people don't realize, they don't see it, you know, like, yeah. So it's sad. At the same time, it's, you know, it motivated us to spread the word.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, everyone knows how to be healthy. Like everything that we teach, it's nothing new. It's been around for thousands of years. Like oh, you should take your shoes off when you go outside. You should get enough sleep. You should go to sleep when the sun goes down. You should exercise. You should walk around. You should eat food that comes off of a tree, not out of a package. Like, all this stuff is just basic common sense. But because of the propaganda, the extreme brainwashing of society over the past hundreds of years, we just forgot how to use our brain. And our brain functions once you unindoctrinate yourself, right? You know how to be healthy after you just release everything you've been taught. This lifestyle doesn't happen unless you unlearn everything and re-educate through nature's medicine. And so everyone out there could probably tell you what we're talking about if they actually just stopped and thought about it for like an hour, like deeply thought about how to be healthy. Like, everyone almost knows, except people don't realize how much it can affect them until they actually start either doing it or spend an actual amount of time researching it and seeing either the statistics, the research, or the other testimonials of people who've done what we did. So it's alarming to see people like your dad, or for instance my mom, who for their whole life was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Unfortunately, your dad passed away. My mom chose to go down my route, and now she's healthy. And so it really just, whatever you put your attention on, that's what your life is going to be. And if you put your attention on not being able to heal yourself and still eating crap and just living totally inconducively to God's plan and design of natural law, of course you're going to feel like shit when you're 80. If you make it to 80, good luck,
If you make it.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. People on Instagram, they're like, oh, my dad or my grandpa smoked, drink, and ate meat, and he got to 100. And I'm like, okay, so try to be a statistic. Let's see where you get.
Yeah.
It's so dumb because they're not looking to the past.
Yeah.
They miss the 51st years of their grandpa living on a farm, not being able to access a lot of meats, not being able to access a lot of alcohol, they're just looking at the last 10 years. And that is nothing, like, for a human being that can live up to 120. 10 years of eating junk food and not treating yourself right, it doesn't, like my dad, he was smoking and drinking and doing a lot of bad stuff. But his 21st years was like pristine, was like perfect lifestyle. He ate some cooked food, that's for sure. But it was all organic. They planted, they were going to fish, and they found, he said, every time they were going to fish, they found like some huge watermelons. They break in half and share between his brothers. Like, they were eating watermelons on the grass.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's obvious that he was going to be a lot more metabolic programmed to be healthier at a later age. That is science. We have a lot of science behind that nowadays. But tell us more about your diet and lifestyle right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I eat probably very similar to you, similar to Loren, similar to just a very, very simple fruit-based diet. I've been pretty much salt-free for, I would say, almost 2 years. Obviously, if I go to a raw vegan restaurant, which is getting much less and less, then I will have some dishes with salt in it. But I eat a fruit-based diet, monomeals predominantly. I drink juice every once in a while. And I'd say maybe 2 to 3 days a week, I have a salad that's like 4 or 5 ingredients: lettuce, tomato, bell pepper, cucumber, avocado. And that's it. It took me a long time to get to a place to enjoy eating this way. I had to transition kind of through eating gourmet food and eating higher fat foods and eating some meals that had more than one fruit, like a fruit salad per se. But now that it's really the fasting though, like, fasting allowed me to enjoy eating this way. It really healed my relationship with food. It eliminated a lot of my cravings, regenerated my taste buds significantly. And so one thing, we probably talk about diet a lot, especially on your channel, because it affects you dramatically. It really affects the way your body feels and functions. But that's just one aspect. So what I've really been understanding is just as important, if not maybe even more important, is exercise. And so my life now is a lot of exercise and almost perfect diet. And without those two, you can't have health. You have to exercise. I'm tan. You have to go outside. You have to take your shirt off. You have to walk in the grass, walk on the beach. I mean, you can walk in shoes, but you have to walk. You have to run. You have to move your body. And if you don't move your body and you eat a bunch of fruit sugar, you're not going to be in great health. You're going to break down much less slowly than if you were eating cheeseburgers and drinking beer every single night. But if you're still eating fruit, say you're eating 25 bananas a day and then just sitting on the couch watching TV, you're not going to be in good health. You might not have diseases per se build up sooner than other people, but it's the full package. It's getting enough sleep, getting a lot of exercise, and eating as close to optimal as possible. And for me personally, that's what I've been really focusing on. And because I was so skinny, dude, I was a twig. I was a pencil. I was so skinny for so long. And being somebody who shares on social media, like I get destroyed on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Like I don't even look at my comment section anymore because it's just like, oh, you're eating fruit. That's why you're a twig, you know? And so it's been really important for me, not because of that, but just because I want to have a perfectly functional body. And I surf. You know, I'm an athlete before anything. Like I grew up surfing, snowboarding, skateboarding, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey. I grew up playing all of that. And because I took like 10 years off because I was sick from really being active, I lost all of my muscle. So I've been just really focused on going to the gym pretty much every single day and surfing at least 4 days a week, you know, going on at least an hour walk a day outside of the gym and doing a lot of stretching and yoga. And I find that to be that's honestly so important. It's not, I don't know if it's as important for the food, but for my mental health, like if I don't exercise, I'm a little bit bummed out for the day, you know? You got to move your body. You got to release those endorphins and produce those hormones to make you feel happy, you know? And just eating watermelon doesn't make me feel that happy. It does when I'm eating it, but you can't just eat food all day long. I eat like 3 meals a day, and then I exercise a lot. You know, I don't exercise all day long, but at least a couple hours, you know, minimum a couple hours. We should be exercising for 6 hours a day, minimum. We should just be outside all day moving around, but we're not. And so one thing that I'm personally trying to gravitate towards is setting my life up to where I can exercise all day by the time I'm like 50. I'm about to be 40, so I'm giving myself 10 years to get there. So I don't have to just work on a computer all day long, you know. I want to be able to just be outside most of the day, whether it's surfing or biking or running or jogging or even just walking or working in my garden or something, which I don't have yet. That's kind of one of the reasons why I'm here in Costa Rica. I'm looking for some land to buy. But I find it's like super important to like get outside and be a part of the earth. That's the one main thing that nobody does. We live in a box. We look at a box. We work on a box. We text on our box. We talk on a box. We eat out of a box. We live inside of the most processed, unnatural, unhealthy environment. And so, you know, obviously the first part of my life, I didn't understand that. But now that I do, I'm hoping that the second half plus of my life will be more conducive to living a natural life, which is not indoors. You know, I hate the fact that I live in a house. And obviously we have to have some sort of shelter, but it should be open. We should be getting fresh air. We should be touching the ground every day, minimum once a day, you know? And so me personally, I see all the puzzle pieces. I definitely don't know everything. I probably don't know anything, to be honest, but I see that I know some things that are working for me and have worked for everyone else. And all the other millions of species on the planet seem to all be in alignment with these things. And what do they all have in common? They all have in common living within nature and balanced within that natural law, you know? So if we're not outside connected to the trees, how are we going to know that it's even wrong to kill animals? We're not, because we're not living within nature. We're not living within animals because we're eating poison, because we're breathing in poison, because we're blopping in poison every day. So of course we're going to be like just this robot, unfunctional, unable to observe what the hell a human's supposed to even do with their life. And so it's been my goal to like spend 10 years figuring out what that is. And now that I'm like reaching that, you know, I'm at like 8 years now, I'm pretty damn close to like figuring out at least how I should live to not get diseased up by the time I'm 60 or 70. Most people I meet tell me that I look like I'm in my 20s, you know? And so for somebody who's got, all my friends are like in their 40s, to hear that, all my friends look like they're in their 50s, you know, a lot of people I know who ate like I did growing up, they look old. And now here I'm getting these compliments. Well, obviously the people on Instagram are like, dude, you look like you're going to die. You're a twig. But then you meet me in real life, and everyone is like, dude, you're so vibrant. Your eyes are crystal clear. Your skin is like perfect, you know. So
It's the same thing for me. It's the same thing for me.
yeah. And most people have never seen what a healthy person looks like. You know, I don't take supplements. I don't drink coffee. I don't eat sugar outside of natural fruit sugar. I don't have to like take herbs or take medicine. I'm in perfect health. And most people I know have at least a few health issues, and they take medicine and they have to have coffee. And so where is that going to lead them? You're going to end up there, and I'm going to end up here. If you do what everyone else does, you get what everyone else gets. And I don't want to get what everyone else gets, because everyone else has got a shitty life and they're chronically sick and they're bloated and they got headaches and they wake up feeling groggy and tired and manic depressive. And I don't want that. You know, I want to be healthy and active and functional, and I want my brain to be clear. Like you said, after you do those fasts, your brain just, it works. You know, you're able to access that information that might have taken you a couple extra seconds if your brain's cloudy with too much oils in your bloodstream, or too much fat, or just the toxicity that builds up. But yeah, man, I want to feel great. So
I even couldn't, even with 10 seconds or a minute, I couldn't process as fast as good as I do right now. I do nowadays. So
yeah.
it's pretty impressive. I agree completely with you. And my dream is to make people understand what we do understand. It's actually the matrix, right? It's actually the Plato's cave. I don't know if you know philosophy.
Plato's cave, of course.
Yeah,
Plato's cave.
Yeah, it's exactly what it happens. You know, it's story, it's mythology, but it's obvious that it happens throughout human history. Just people don't realize it. So we're short on. I'm short on time because of the retreat that's starting like in the today. But I want to record more with you after your long fast, after your next fast. So let's record next time, talking a little bit more about your diet, what you eat, your favorite fruits. That I have seen you throughout Thailand, throughout Middle East, right? Like eating durians, and I have went there last year. So, and you can talk more about what more you did regenerated with this next fast. So it was a pleasure, Jeff. We think alike. We think a lot alike. It would be a pleasure to meet you also one day in person. And when you visit Brazil, when you want to visit Brazil, be my guest. I have like a huge place here. The Saquarema is actually where it happens the World Surf Tour tournament, the last stage for the WSL. Mm-hmm. Here it happens the last stage for the World Tour tournament, the main tournament, right?
Okay.
It's like 10 blocks from my house.
Wow, that's crazy. Awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely have to put that on the map.
Yeah. It's quite famous, the beach, because we call it the Maracanã do Surf, because Maracanã is the biggest soccer stadium in Brazil, right? So, yeah, it's the main place to surf in Brazil. I think it's here. So I do surf, but just a little bit. I'm actually pretty bad. So it was a pleasure to be with you guys. It was a pleasure to interview Jeff. Thank you a lot. Any last words?
I mean, just think about your actions more. Think about what you're doing that have consequences. Eat healthy, exercise, get enough sleep, and do a fast. Do like 3 or 4 water fasts. It's going to completely change your life. You're going to feel like you're 25 years younger, and you'll understand what we're talking about. Instead of you just listening to this video and hearing our words, you're going to experience it. And everyone wants that taste. They want to feel healthy. A lot of people just haven't done what it takes to get there yet. So thank you so much for having me on today.
Thanks. See you next time, everybody.
Did you like the podcast? What other subjects would you want to view here? Do you want to know more? Please comment below. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to help our work and help yourself, 2 of my 10 books are already translated and published in English on Amazon. And Hygienic Fasting Nature Surgery is actually available print on demand also. And Natural Delicacies Cooking Without a Stove, it's on Kindle. So if you want my help, the link below for the website and for the WhatsApp contacts, you can get a consultation, retreats, online courses, and read all the books. It's life-changing information for the most updated lifestyle information out there in the planet. Hope I can help, and don't forget to click these videos to know more.